Hello, this is Matthew Jackson, and what I'd like to do today in this video is give you some post-presidential election analysis. Today is November 12th, Saturday. Of course, last Tuesday, Donald Trump pulled a stunning upset win over Hillary Clinton, and I think this is one election that will go down in history big time. It's very monumental. I think historians will be writing books about this election. Movies will be made about this election. It was truly one of the biggest political feats I've ever seen done in my lifetime. And of course, you could say that for centuries back. Here you have a political novice, a guy who has never held public office before in his entire life, um, beat a juggernaut. I mean, Hillary Clinton has been in politics for 30 plus years. She's been first lady, senator, secretary of state, had a very good resume, was well funded, had a lot more money at her disposal on campaigning than did Donald Trump, her counterpart. So she was outfunded, or she had more money, she had more political experience. She had the Democratic establishment behind her, but also the financial establishment behind her, the media establishment behind her, the polls behind the pollsters. They were behind her. I mean, uh, she had the president of the United States, the sitting president, Barack Obama, campaigned for her. She had about everything in her corner that any presidential candidate could ask for, but yet she lost the election. So now you got to look back and think, well, okay, why did she lose that election? That election was for her to win. She should have won that election, but she didn't. And there's several factors, several contributing factors, not just one thing. Obviously, we look at the email situation where she had her own private server and used her private server for government work that had classified information, then lied about it to the FBI. That's one issue, but also the play to pay with her Clinton Foundation donations. That's pretty crooked as well. So, yeah, she was a crooked politician. She's just crooked to the bone. That was probably your biggest factor in her not becoming president. I know some of the pundits, the liberal ones, are saying, well, it's racist, sexist that she didn't win. It had nothing to do with race, had nothing to do with her gender. It's not because America wasn't ready to have a woman president. That's nonsense. Hillary was a crook, is a crook. That's it. Okay. Now, you've got to give a lot of credit to Donald Trump, though. A lot of credit. He had a very good work ethic. He worked very hard. He didn't take it for granted. He knew what states he had to win in order to win the presidency. And he went out there and campaigned in those states and won those states that he needed to win. And let's talk about that just for a second. There's these four states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. That's referred to as the Blue Wall. With Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan in particular, well, you take Pennsylvania and Michigan, in the last six presidential election cycles before this one, 2016, they had all voted for the Democratic nominee. They were pretty solid blue states. And then, of course, Wisconsin had voted in the last seven presidential election cycles prior to this one. So the last time Wisconsin ever voted for a Republican president was Ronald Reagan in 1984 when he beat Mondale in a landslide. Okay, the last time Pennsylvania and Michigan voted Republican was in 1988 when Bush beat Dukakis. So those those three states had a historical track record in recent history of being solid blue states. Those are states that Bill Clinton, um, Al Gore, John Kerry, and Obama. They all won those states. So they've been historically. Now, Pennsylvania had 20 electoral votes, Wisconsin 10, Michigan 16. Michigan, I don't think they've been called officially yet. I think it's going to go to Trump, and so as of the time I'm doing this video right now, recording, Michigan has not been officially called for Trump, but he has a 13,000 vote lead, which is a very thin margin. His margin of victory right now is at 0.23%, a quarter of a percentage point over Hillary. That's incredible. And Wisconsin, he beat Hillary by 0.93%. And then, of course, in Pennsylvania, his margin of victory is a little bit wider, 1.14%. So, yeah, in all three of those states that Hillary should have had, they were solid blue states. He flipped. Okay. So that is huge. That's the story of this election. I know you liberals out there are whining like little bitches right now and are very disappointed that Trump lost. Okay, fine, I understand. I feel your pain because I felt the same way in 2008 and 2012 when Obama won. I was very disappointed with that. But, us conservatives, we do less whining when we lose. We take our lickings and we get ready for the next election cycle. So, we don't riot in the streets, injure people, and destroy property like some on the far left have done. Not all, but some. I know defeat's tough. We've been there. I know how you feel. But if you're going to be mad at somebody, you ought to be mad at these three states carrying 46 electoral votes that put Trump over the top. Before Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan were called, and Arizona and New Hampshire, I think there was 5 states, Trump had 254 electoral votes. He needed 16 more to become president. Well, and then at 1:40 Central Standard Time, the news media called Pennsylvania, and that gave Trump 270 votes, electoral votes, 274, excuse me. And that put him over the top, and he won the presidency. I think he's going to end up probably getting 306 electoral votes when it's all said and done. But he's got more now because Arizona eventually went to Trump. That's like 11. But Arizona was a red state, so we were expecting that to go to Trump. But you look at Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, those are combine those states, total of 46 electoral votes. Had Hillary Clinton won those states, she would have been president, easy. She would have had over 270 electoral votes had she won just those 3 states, but she didn't. And really, Hillary has nobody to blame but herself. Donald Trump went out there, hustled his votes. He made a lot of campaign stops, more than Hillary did. He just flat out worked his butt off. You got to give a lot of credit to Trump just for getting out there and hustling. He didn't take his victory for granted. He knew he could lose, and he did everything he could do to win. Iowa, Florida, and Ohio. Now, those states are typically swing states. In the last presidential election, 2012, Barack Obama won those states. But this year, Trump was able to flip them. So he flipped a total of 6 states that Obama won in 2012. He won now in 16. So that's the story right there. That's how Donald Trump won. What's really amazing about Donald Trump? And on July 16th, I think it was, 2015, that's when he declared announced him running for president. At the time he announced his candidacy, he was laughed at. He wasn't taken very seriously. The pundits and the media didn't take him seriously. The Republican National Committee didn't take him seriously. The Democrats didn't take him seriously. He was taken for granted. He really was. He was very underestimated, but he prevailed and worked through that. Won the nomination handily, and then now he won the presidency quite handily. And now, one thing it's worthy of noting is that 1 million less black people, of the black voters that voted for Obama in 12, about 16 million black people voted. 16 million, I think it's 16.4.5, something like that. There's some change in there. But let's just round it off. 16 million voted for Barack Obama. But the black vote did not come out as strongly for Hillary as they did for Obama. 1 million less black voters voted in 2016. So 1 million black voters stayed home in 2016. And you think of those razor thin margins that Trump won by in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. You think had the black vote showed up in those 3 states, Hillary could have won those states. Here's some internet research that I've been doing. 13% of black men voted for Trump. In 2012, only 11% voted for Romney, so he picked up a net gain of 2% among the black male voters. 6% of black women voted for Trump. In 2012, only 5% of black women voted for Trump. So Trump got 3% more black votes than his counterpart in 2012 did, or his predecessor, I should say. Trump won 30% of the Hispanic vote. Now I think George W. Bush, I think he got 43. I know he got 43% of the Hispanic vote when he ran for governor the second time here in Texas. But I think he got a better Hispanic vote nationally when he ran for president. But, you got to take into account that George W. Bush wasn't talking about building a wall and deporting illegals, where Trump was. Okay. So Trump, we know his platform on illegal immigration, quite strong, quite stringent. But in spite of that, he got 30% of the Hispanic vote. Not bad. 45% of white college-educated women voted for Trump. So what's this sexist thing here? They call him a sexist. Well, okay, 45% of white college-educated women voted for Trump. That's a very significant chunk of that demographic. Very good. Among black voters in general under the age of 30, here's something noteworthy. Obama got 91% of the black voters under the age of 30 in 2012. Clinton only got 83% of that same demographic, black votes under 30, in 2016. So she lost 8% of that voting bloc. And again, those things matter. So you just can't just take one little thing and say, well, that's why Hillary lost or Trump won. But there's a lot of contributing factors. So that's my analysis of the election. This was a real true David and Goliath encounter here. Hillary should have won. So you liberals that are upset, you should be mad at Hillary for not getting out there and hustling. It's just that simple. And so if Donald Trump does, and by the way, for the record, I did vote for Trump. Not in the primary. I voted for Cruz in the primary. But since Trump won the nomination fair and square, I voted for him in the general. and that's what I normally do. I vote Republican, find the most conservative candidate that reflects my values in the primaries, and if he loses, I vote for the guy who does win because he's usually light years better than any Democrat that runs. So I wish Donald Trump the best. I hope he becomes a good president, and hope he makes good decisions. Pray for him. We should be praying for Obama too, not just conservative presidents, but all presidents. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Dios te bendiga. Ciao.